This is RPMMORadio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about role-playing and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job.
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Sibh'Bae, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Greetings and welcome to RPMMORadio. Glad to have you with us. This is our 32nd episode, Darker Than Really Dark. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me, as always, is everybody else, Jazz, Kishmas, Sibh'Bae, and eventually, a Sib.
Hello.
Who is running behind.
Bud.
Yeah. Oh, is she gonna be late?
Yeah, our son had baseball today, and it was for you people that get mail in a rural area, if you see your rural carrier, give them the sign of the cross, because we just started our 2-week count, which only determines what we get paid for anywhere from the next 1 to 3 years, based on the volume of mail over a solid 2 weeks. And
Really?
It's okay. It's not like the post office is suddenly sending things that used to come through us through UPS and FedEx just by coincidence. No, that does not happen every single time that we can prove, basically always.
What's this white stuff?
Yeah, I would sniff that right now. I don't care if it's
Anthrax.
cocaine or anthrax. I don't care if it's cocaine-laced anthrax. I take it right now. It is the nerve-wrackingest, nervy time of any mail carrier's life if they're rural side. If you're city side, you're making 6 figures and you're gold. But who wants to really care about what I have to do for a living? Me and Sib. That's pretty much it. Everybody else, just give your mailman a pat. Also, don't tell us your dog doesn't bite and then let the little fucker out to bite us. We don't really
Fun
like that.
fact, my stepdad is now a mail carrier.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in the
Is he?
rural stuff as well.
Yeah, see? So he's probably going through it right now because it was almost mandatory for everybody nationwide. So that has absolutely nothing to do with roleplay, though, which is why everyone here has, of course, tuned in, which you can do every Saturday at 7 Central at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Yeah, I
What the
shouldn't
hell
do
was
that
that?
voice. Well, we got the traffic every time, every time on the 5s, the 6s, and the 7s.
Sounds like a local dealership commercial.
Right. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. It's Toyotathon Sunday. But yeah, you can get us at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. If you're listening to it live, we love having you guys here. We are also a call-in show, and you can do that through Discord, which you can get to rpmmoradio.com/Discord and join our Discord chat. Throw yourself in our caller waiting room. And if you've got something you want to say, either about the current episode or stuff in the past, you're more than welcome to. Today's episode, of course, will be dark roleplay, because without it, I mean, would like 95% of the roleplay community even exist? I mean, really? Anybody?
No.
Yeah. No.
I could
I
say,
was waiting for you to say
No,
something
no.
else.
No.
Yeah, no,
No.
I could say being on the Pinocine side way back in the day, I saw it disappear real quick.
Coffee. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's a topic we've had for a while, and Kishmas pulled this out of the rabbit hat. So if it's awful,
Dun, 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 dun.
blame Kishmas.
Yeah, just blame me.
But
Send me a
that's-
DM in game, tell me what piece of shit I am.
Oh, that you got friends for that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and co-hosts. You're a piece
Yep.
of shit.
Thanks,
So,
man.
I actually have to apologize severely to our Patreon donors last week, because we totally didn't honor you and the awesomeness that you are. So,
Way
again,
to go.
that was Jazz's fault because she spoke
Hey!
first. Well, see,
Yeah,
that's the thing
not
is
me.
we only pay her as a woman, which of course is far, far less than man. I think we pay you 25 cents on the dollar now, and as such, you get what you pay for. Nothing, Jazz, nothing at all, no rebuttals.
I'm
Just-
pondering what I'm going to say to you.
I thought it was just the grinding of your teeth that I heard. So
Nah.
With
was the
Not
Friday.
yet.
I heard it.
With that, I want to, of course, special thanks to all of our Patreon donors, and of course, especially those of our raid boss level, which is that guy Laza and the Truth Bob, both of which are beautiful, handsome, intelligent people that probably should get a 1-week pass at the Playboy Mansion, especially now that wrinkly old guy's gone. Am I right? All right, ladies? You're free. Free. Run. Run. So thank you, you two, and everybody else. We seriously appreciate it. We would still be here without you, but we would not be able to improve the show as we're hoping to do in the future without you. So for that, it is awesome. And of course, for our new Twitch followers, Brand 2002, Wakachoto, which is somebody's relative, Insomniac 102, and Manning Squared. You guys rock on. Because of you all, we're actually well above the 50 followers we needed, and I've actually been filling out the forms to become a Twitch affiliate, which will be cool.
Yeah,
I think.
that'd be really
Excellent.
neat.
Yeah,
Should be fun.
it'll be such a joy. It'll be such a joy, so joyousness. So if you're listening on the thing live, of course you can always hit us up on iTunes and Android apps, Stitcher, Podbean, because it is a podcast show. Even though we do it live, it's technically a podcast. We just do it live because we like pressure, and we all work better underneath it.
Do it live?
You work better underneath my wife? What was that?
No, I said do it live.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. We were gonna have to have a talk.
Your brain and what you hear is fascinating sometimes.
Well, I can't say what I think I just heard you say because that would be insult to the LGBTQ community, and I'm not going to go there with you.
Uh-huh.
Hater.
Yeah.
Hater.
We need like a censor button. Press.
It's like
It's
those,
like every day.
it's like those old men. You like, hey, what do you want for dinner? No, I'm not a quitter. No, what do you want for dinner? Never met him.
What the Funyuns is going on?
So yeah, just hit us up on all those podcasts. If you go on iTunes with you Apple-y people, which today, by the way, happy dead birthday to the guy that created Apple, Steve Jobs.
Oh, I thought that was Wozniak. Oh wait,
No, I didn't say the guy that really
try me,
created
hipsters.
it. Try me, come at me, hipsters. I'll pull you by your beard.
Meet
and
me
your
in a local
flannel
cafe.
So
I think
weird?
we need another female to join our little group so that it balances out the testosterone.
well, we did.
What do you
but
mean?
She's
What's
not
that
here.
noise?
She's still
What
running
noise?
late.
I mean, I hear this annoying little buzzing. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep getting that too. It sounds like a bee, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
definitely
kind
a
of,
bee.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep
number
it up,
woman.
guys.
We love women.
We do love women. Without women, there wouldn't be.
Women.
I'm thinking. Cleaning.
Sandwiches.
My house would be a lot less clean.
Oh, Jazz, we're just
Nice,
kidding
guys.
on you.
Nice.
We know you don't do anything.
Oh,
It's just I hate.
oh God.
I've seen Married
I
with
don't
Children.
even
It's just
hurt
sitting
you.
on the couch and eating bonbons all day. I've seen it. I know what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Damn,
enough
I've
picking
seen
on
that.
Jazz and her gender. It's all right. She can't help the way she was born. But so with I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna hear. We're just gonna hear Jazz like disappear off the radio and like a in the background, and then on my end, like 5 minutes later, and she's gonna come busted in the door and break my head off. Which would be crazy because we're only like a few hundred. Oh, I knocked and now my dogs are barking.
Classic.
Whoops.
Classic.
They're not what you would call smart. Yep, there's Fred. She's barking. Oh, all right. So without further ado, let's get to the roleplay of this roleplay shenanigan show. What have we been doing in roleplay? Kishmas, I'm going to pick you first this time. You're on the chopping block.
Well, Regier has been transferred to the Ebonheart Temple with all of his precious Wardenators. and they're
Yarp.
settling in. Hopefully, in the future, we can start doing some inter-guild stuff with other guilds.
This will only end in tears.
Tears, yes.
Yeah, it's always fun to get out there and see other guilds and stuff like that, but it's always can be such a mixed blessing.
It's really like hit or miss.
Yeah, what is it with that? Because like when you're in a guild, you're like, nope, this guild's perfect, and then you meet other guilds and you're like, the fuck is wrong with these people? But everyone in that guild is like, this guild's perfect, and then they meet your guild and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with those people? How does that work?
People are tribal. They're used to their little tribe, and then once you start encountering another tribe, it's like, oh, those guys are funny.
What? Yeah.
Pretty much.
Before you know it, we're throwing spears at each other and we're all wearing loincloths.
I mean,
Of
Raj
course,
does
if it's-
that anyway.
I mean, it worked in Barbarella, so why not? Yeah. Let's pull out the 1950s here on movie for references.
What?
So, what? So, Sibh'Bae, what do you got, buddy?
Well, I was sick all week, so I got a little bit of RP yesterday night. Got my Rufus done with his task with the other group of role players in our guild. Assisted a Grand Mage, pissed off his other apprentice, and then showed him up. It was a good time for all.
Oh, come on, you got to go into that story a little bit. 'Cause now I want to know. How'd you show him up?
Okay, well, he came back wounded, his master, and the other apprentice didn't go with us, was kind of being lazy, didn't go with us. And when he showed up, he started blaming Rufus for his master getting wounded. And Rufus said, look, I'm but a lowly adept. I did what I could, but I'm no master magic or whatever. Typhon was with us as well. And he said, hey, Rufus did fine, this and that. And he kept blaming Rufus. And he made some comment. It's like, you're absolutely ridiculous. And then Rufus said, so is your attire. And it kept going. It's like, this, and I was playing Khajiit. So it's like, this one wonders, if you have so much love for your master, why did you not go with us? Instead, stay here and chase the ladies.
Ooh.
And so it devolved into something else. And then he went storming out of the room, and Rufus showed him up further by staying watch over his master all night while he healed. And the other apprentice went out partying on the town. So we shall see who the better pupil is the next day.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean, somebody's got to sit there and hold his hair back while he's throwing up and being sick, right? That's the one they
Pretty
always
much.
remember.
That's right.
That's my only high elves could give you a dig on your like clothing wardrobe and have it sting as much as like a 16-year-old girl in high school.
Except I was playing a Khajiit, but yeah, it worked
Oh
out.
yeah, that's right, Khajiit. Nah, I missed.
Someone
that
say
part.
fur coat.
Yeah, there you go. Fur coat. You look like you got mange. You have mange? So, Jazz. See, I didn't pick you first this time.
No, you didn't for a change. You always pick on me first.
All right, Jazz, you go first.
Well, this week was getting back into the swing of things at home, so I had a lot of time to play, which was nice.
Woo.
I
I
had
noticed she'd been on a lot more. I thought it was
Yeah.
just like having a stroke.
So I got a chance to develop some role play on Sully as well as on my Necro, which I've been working on, as I mentioned last week. She met with Typhon last night and trying to figure out a way to break the curse. It was nice because he pinpointed the fact that if they get the curse canceled, they both die. And I didn't think anybody else would pick up on that. So I was very impressed that he nailed that, because they've been alive for so long that if they break the curse, they'll both die
They'll do
because
the
they've
whole
outlived their...
they'll do the whole what's that? The Holy Grail thing.
Yeah,
where
you
they're
know,
just
because
like,
because they've lived for so long past their own lifetimes that if the curse breaks, it's all that's keeping them alive. So that'd be it. And she was like, you know what? I don't care. You don't understand. I'm sick of him. And
I'd rather be. That's when you know a marriage has been going on for a long time. I'd rather be dead than be with you another minute.
Yep.
Hey.
So it was really cool. And on Kia, we've had a couple new members, so I've been able to roleplay on her and meet with people, and it's just really been a nice development-wise. It's been a nice week.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too shabby at all. All right, so Sib, Oh, that's right. She's still not here. But she might be listening. And when she does listen to this afterwards, she'll listen to this part. And she'll give me shit about it later. But no, real life comes first. Blah, blah, blah. We all know the rules. You know. So let's see. For me, on Torvala, like Raj said, I guess we've been moving to Ebonheart from the Abbey, which I think blew up last night. Was that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Big
apparently,
fireball.
big fireball bloated up where our characters were staying. I, of course, I couldn't stay because I hate, I love it. I love roleplay events and stuff like that, but sometimes this one started like at late at night for where I'm at, and then it started even later than that when it really got going, and I hate starting something like really getting into the meat of it and then having to leave partway through because it's my bedtime and I've got to work in the next morning because I gotta be a big boy. It sucks. So I bailed early before it actually started, so I didn't get to see all the fun shit that happened after the fact, like apparently things blowing up,
It's like a Michael Bay movie.
Elder Scrolls as directed by Michael Bay. Right? Well, so,
Shia LaBeouf, there's nothing on this.
Shia LaBeouf. Ugh. And yes, I'm aware the song is funny. He's still awful.
Oh.
Especially in the Indiana Jones movie. That was just the
Listen,
worst.
You do not speak of those movies.
Just the one. They're
Just
making
the one.
they're making another, right?
I guess I'll log off.
Log off.
No.
If anybody needs me, I'll be in my closet hanging from the rafters.
And I gave up on push to talk. I hate it. So
You can't do it. You keep talking.
Nope.
You keep talking, don't you?
I keep talking, and then I remember I haven't pushed the stupid button. So, yeah, screw that. I'll just hit mute.
Yeah, that's fine. You tried it. I had to do it that one day when we had something really bad going on here, or something like that, and I did it for something, and it was half the time I was talking to you guys. I'm like, oh yeah, nobody heard that. Click. Say it again. Sib in the chat says that I did some RP, but I didn't want to talk about how edgy. It was too edgy. So
we did have some edgelords, so I had some edgelords I had to deal with too. It was amusing.
And if anyone plays an edgy, boring,
they call me Shadow.
They call me Darkest Shadow of the darkest reaches of the dark realm.
I'm the Reaper's #1 fan.
Of darkness.
Darkness.
Who reaps the Reaper? Me. It's me. Me. I'm the Reaper. See, Zekel says push to talk is where it's at. I like it anyways. So, Zek disagrees with you. That makes you wrong. I'm wrong. I don't look at me.
I'm never wrong.
This is what the chat
boy.
says. This is the chat. The chat is saying that you're wrong, and you can't argue with an audience. They are always right, like customers.
Listen, buddy. That's incorrect.
Kishmish, the customer is always right.
Oh, like how today. Never mind. I can't even go into it. It was so frustrating.
Come on. Dude, you can't leave us hanging like that.
This elderly couple came in. It was like, hi, I came to pick up a printer. I'm like, oh, did you order one online? They're like, no, I didn't. I came to pick it up. I'm like, oh, okay. Right over the back wall, we have printers stacked over there, and someone can help you pick one out. So they go over there. They come back like, that's not store pickup. I'm like, you fucking say, oh, yeah, I did order online. And then I get yelled at by my manager. I'm sitting here like, fuck you, dude. Like,
they said they didn't order it online.
They tried to pull, well, yeah, did they order it in the store? I'm like, no. They had the paper slip.
And which they left to themselves until it was inconvenient for everybody.
Yeah. And then the guy apparently told the cashier, like, I want to scold that guy. I'm like, do it. I'll school you any day, old man.
School him. I'll just push you and your cane over. I'm not afraid. Here's some mace. Psh, I don't care.
Is this your oxygen tank? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, gosh. You guys are so bad.
There was that shark documentary a long time ago, back in the 70s. You have to be careful with those oxygen tanks. If they get hit with a bullet, that whole thing explodes. Yeah, I took that
You son of a...
took that whole top of that shark with him in that documentary. That I think it was done by SeaWorld. So yeah, be careful with those.
Pretty dark.
It was super dark, super edgy. So yeah, well, I can't really think. Most of the role play I did this week was pretty basic. Nothing was groundbreaking. I did some with Kishmas, and I mean, he's, you know, it's Kishmas. I mean,
I'm subpar.
It's basic at best, you know. No, it was actually kind of fun to have them talk to each other, just, you know,
mano y mano.
Yeah. Ironically, if there was an event coming, I have a feeling almost every time, if you notice this, Kishmas, every time Tarvala and Roger talk one-on-one, it usually ends at them beating the crap out of each other in a spar. Yeah. I would say more than half the time, that is always how it ends. Anytime they're one-on-one, it's like, you know, I like talking to you. You know what I like better?
It's like the opposite of like love. It's like the opposite of like talking to someone you love. You just want to kiss them. No, Raj and Charv just want to fight.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I want to flip you into the ground and hit you in the throat. Come on, let's go. That sounds like fun. That sounds great. So, all right. Well, that's all we've got there for that. So, without further ado, I guess before we get into our main topic, of course, we will have a word from our sponsor. Oi, you there, boy. You looking for some work, are you? Thought so. You got that look about you. You also look like you got yourself some little nimble fingers there. Think you can put them to work in a crowded square? I knew you would. You got that look about you, like I said, you know. Come on, come with me. Walk with me a bit. We'll teach you a thing or two about the trade. Just remember, we don't steal from one another. Gil gets 30%, non-negotiable. You'll have to get some warm food, dry place to sleep at night. You know, can't ask much more than that, can you? Yeah, I'll wait a minute while you go get your stuff. Hey, that's, you actually got quite a nice neck beard there, by the by. That fedora and trench coat really set off the whole look. I think you'll fit right in with the Edgelord Guild. Didn't know they were a union now. That's actually somewhat scary. Terrifying. So with that, there's Jazz.
Oh gosh, I was laughing through that whole thing. You are so fun. I love it.
See,
freaking edgelords, man.
And that's the thing. That's the way I am with the ladies. They hate me one minute, love me the next, but deep down inside is still that burning, rock hard hatred.
Yeah.
Like the fire of 1,000 white hot suns.
Actually, the red dwarf.
Shut up, you nerd. Go scratch your neck beard, my lady.
I will, I will.
Oh gosh.
Since I'm someone growing a beard and it's on my neck now, I guess I can't really talk. But at least I don't have a windowless van yet. So, on to dark roleplay. Speaking of dark roleplay, first of all, let's go ahead and get into what we mean by dark roleplay. Kishmas, you kind of came up with this one or picked it. You wanna take it away from here for that? You think you can? You think you can take the big seat?
I don't know, boss. I don't know. But anyway, Dark RP. What is Dark RP? It has a pretty wide definition. Good things like interrogation, torture, gore, violence. If you're being an abomination like a vampire, werewolf, pretty much wear anything, anywhere in Tamriel or in any other MMO. There's something where, like there's were-bats, were-vultures, were-crocodiles.
There was a book I read that had were-goats.
What?
See, I'm not sure that I think that just makes them edgy. I mean, I think you can be one without being an edgelord.
Oh no, I'm turning.
But the edgelord, yeah.
That was the Dresden Files. They had there was like a were-goat or something like that. Yeah.
Oh God, someone help me! I'm growing horns.
I really want to eat tin cans. But yeah, no, not every, but you know what I mean. You know how often, Jazz, you know how many, like, what is it, out of the people that do vampire werewolf?
No,
I'd
you're
say a
totally
lot of
right.
them are
I'm
pretty.
just saying it's not all of them. I've met some really well done
Well, that's what I'm
vampires
saying.
and werewolves, but
This is for dark, not edgelord or bad. You can
Yeah.
do
There's
there's
those are
definitely
also
good ones.
Those are also hit or miss RPs right there. I mean,
50-50.
You're not gonna see a vampire walk in and say, "Hey guys, who wants to see my pearly white fangs?" It's pretty cool, right? All right, I'll be in the corner.
Actually,
that happens
I've
so
kinda
much.
seen
It's
that a lot.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that actually
Yeah.
happens quite a bit. Yeah.
It's
That's right up.
pain in the ass.
Really
That is-
common.
That's right up
That's
there with
really
the
common.
assassin that's like, "Hey, give me a beer. I was just killing people for money." Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know that's illegal, right? You probably should maybe keep that under your hood.
I'm in the Morag Tong. It's legal. Look at my grave writ.
I'm in the
well-worn-
League of Shadows.
You're an East March.
It's a well-worn lame path. We've all seen it. We all hate it. I particularly hate it with burning
Mhm.
passion.
Yeah. Oof. But yeah, that's so, like you saying, interrogation, torture, slavery. That's another kind of dark area to go into.
Dark RP can most people don't even, they have to tell everyone that they're dark and evil constantly.
Yeah, and that's less dark. That's that to me. If you have to,
yeah,
it's like
You
you have to
explaining.
tell people. Well, yeah.
It's like
I mean, I
explaining
agree
a
with
joke.
you, but how much do we see it where they're like, I'm evil. I'm going to my evil smile, and he crosses his evil legs, and
If you
I
have
think
to
the
tell
most
folks,
the most common word would be devious smile.
if you have to tell folks you're evil, you're
I
not.
will tell you right
You're not
now,
evil.
we all knew one guy that would do that constantly.
Yep.
He just put the word evil in front of everything that he did.
No,
And I
really?
swear, I
don't
wanted
remember
to
that.
reach out. I wanted to reach out and stab him in the eye. He made me so, and he wasn't a bad guy. And it was just, I knew I couldn't say anything without it upsetting him. So I just never bothered. But it drove me absolutely batshit.
Yeah, and Cameron Chan, my thief on ESO is a vampire. Do I win? No, unfortunately, it would also have to be a werewolf and an assassin, and then you
Yes.
would win. Yeah, sorry,
A
Cameron.
werewolf, assassin,
You'd have to be a
vampire,
werefire.
half-breed.
Yeah, were-vampire, assassin, thief,
Yeah.
and then also
Who's
like,
also a noble. Who's also a noble.
who's a noble
Somewhere-
dark elf orc.
Where there's dragon blood.
Was the bastard son of a noble. That's even more so.
Yeah, bastard, you bastard.
father didn't want me.
Yeah, well, I've talked to you for 4 seconds. I understand your father's point of view.
Oh, that's awful. You're so mean, I swear. At least I don't say
Oh yeah,
that.
I'm being mean to the fictional character that doesn't exist and I'm not even talking to at the moment.
You're just mean. You are.
Yeah, well, we all have our roles to play in life, Jazz, and I have just embraced mine.
You know what's funny about that? He says it, you're thinking it, you just won't say it. You're not brave
That's
enough.
right. That's the thing.
It's not brave. I have more compassion. How about that?
How is it compassion when you're still
Patience
thinking
for
about it?
idiocy, and you want to deal with it for like the next
I
3
had-
months of the dudes in the guild.
I had my compassion removed. I stopped feeling things about the
Yeah,
time.
no
Oddly
kidding.
enough, let's see. I've been with the post office for 12 years. Yeah, it's actually that lines up. It's about 12 years ago I lost all my compassion. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, though. It's just
I'm
a
sure.
coincidence.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the other. It's
No,
just-
in all honesty, I love that job. If anything made me lose my compassion, it was doing customer service calls for Cricket and AOL Shop Direct back in the early 2000s. That
Yeah,
shit'll
that'd
make
do
you
it.
lose all faith in humanity. Whew,
Yep.
man. You beg for old people that don't know that they ordered something online coming to your store.
My phone's not working. Where are you calling on? A fucking radio?
Yeah.
Do I sound like I'm on old-time radio?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Why do
Yeah.
you do that? That's weird. So one thing that isn't really, I don't consider it dark roleplay. It's its own category is ERP. ERP is its own beast, and while it can be 50 Shades of Dark, it's not really. I mean, I guess you could put it in there, but it's really ERP's its own thing.
It's more like 50 Shades of Derp, but that's just my
Derp.
opinion.
That's actually I like that.
Derp.
50 Shades of Derp. I wonder if we use that when we talk about ERP. That's a good title. I think we've had 2 or 3 good titles for the ERP episode whenever that comes about. We're just going to have to do a trilogy just so that we can, even though each one won't even be about it, we'll just be like, well, we
50
like
50 Shades Derper.
Yeah, 50 Shades. What's the Freed is the new one? How do you do that one? Dreeped?
50 Shades Green, I don't know.
Derpiest. So
I have a hard time even seeing ERP as role play. So
yeah, so you're really
Yeah.
she's far away
I mean,
from that.
I don't think it's bad. I don't think that people
You
who
don't.
do ERP
You're not
are
judging
bad.
them. You just hate
Again,
everything about them.
I think it's another hit or miss for some people.
Turpid.
Right. I just don't think that when you say I'm role playing and you're actually ERPing, I don't really consider it role play. It builds role play maybe on
Especially
some
if that's
people,
all you
but-
do. Yeah.
Right. I don't
If
consider
if
it.
that's all you do, then you're not role playing.
You're just
No.
cyber sexed. That's literally
To-
what
to me,
Go on
it's-
chat roulette or something.
I
I mean,
like-
if that's how you want to spend your $15 in the game, that's fine. It's interactive porn. Totally get it. It can be really hot, but it's not really role play. And and I don't, maybe I'm odd because I draw that line, but to me, ERP is not role play. It's something that you do because somebody likes it, and it's really unnecessary. You don't need to do it to build RP. It's just fun.
Like,
she
oh,
said
there's
convincingly.
lots and lots,
Yeah.
lots of
It's just
people
fun.
who think like that. Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I've never done it because that's not true.
Well, we
And
all
I'm
know
actually-
that.
Yeah,
I mean, geez.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but I'm not going to sit here and call it role play, and
I
I,
mean,
don't consider
If
it
you
role
went
play.
blind from ERP, you'd have a
I'd be blind.
you'd have a dog with you by now, helping leading you through the town. I mean, jeez.
I would be blind by now because
You'd be
I
that
certainly
awesome
went through
You'd be that
a
awesome
period of
kid that
time
was
when I
able to
did that
use
a lot.
echolocation with his tongue. You'd just be walking down the hallway going,
You're so awful.
which is sad because
So
that kid's story was so great, and unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, which was really
wow,
sad. But
that's
he was an
sad.
awesome kid. The shit that guy could do with his—that's gonna sound wrong— with his tongue and his ears. But it was they're filming him. He's like, there's a trash can over there, car. It's like, holy shit, and you're like, wow, that's incredible. You're way
Yeah.
better than anything I've ever
Can you
accomplished
tell if
in
I'm
my
flipping
life.
you off?
No, you're using your thumb.
Oh.
So ERP is not. We're not including that in Dark RP.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different animal altogether. So
Ouch. Sorry.
did you bite yourself?
No. I had a stupid injury at work. I was throwing a box trying to get it to the back of the LOV, and as it released, that box hit another box and stopped all its momentum. However, my finger did not get that message, and my pinky hit the box that was now stopped with all of my 242 pounds of weight. And that little knuckle, first knuckle on your pinky finger, it bent 90 degrees in the opposite direction that a pinky's supposed to bend.
Ow, 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 ow,
And
ow.
it's the bone's not broken, but pretty much everything in there has given up. So now if I accidentally put the
Ouch.
barest bit of pressure, I can hit my shift and enter keys and it's fine. But if I try to lift something, and you'd be amazed at how often you use the tip of your pinky.
Oh yeah.
It immediately hyperextends the wrong way again every single time. I've done that probably 5 times today, and I'm trying to find one of those stupid little retarded things that you used to see when you were a kid. How that one kid.
Walgreens.
I went to Walmart today, and they didn't have
Rite
any
Aid.
of them, so I'm going to go to
No, not Walmart.
CB
Rite Aid,
uh,
CVC. Yeah, they'll have it.
CRVs or whatever.
That's where I had to go. I
that's where
thought Walmart would have it, and they didn't
Mm-mm.
have it. I ended up having to go to Walgreens here,
Yep.
which is CVC
And
there.
that's what I'm going to do, because at home I'm not too bad, except apparently when I'm on the podcast in the middle of something and I have to suddenly explain this entire bullshit, which I had no intention of doing. But I keep
Good RP.
Yeah.
I keep doing it at work, and it's awful. So anyway, if I do that again, you'll understand why I'm going all of a sudden. So on dark old jeez.
Dark old people?
Dark. Wow, you went
What are you
racist
doing?
with that, man. You see how jeez.
FBI should be knocking on our door
She
right
sees
now.
Black Panther
Oh,
one
right to it
time
too,
and
man.
suddenly it's okay for
Right
her
to
to talk
it.
about it. Man.
Sorry.
Anyway.
You guys are horrible. You know that, right?
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
know you
telling
love us.
Yes, but we
Yeah.
accept it.
That's good.
Embrace it. Dark on how dark is too dark. Should you limit the severity of dark RP you wish to do to accommodate the feelings of others?
I always
Oh.
give people a warning.
Yeah,
Well,
giving people a heads up is
caution,
just
discretion.
smart.
Especially if
Yeah.
it's going to be
Viewer
a
discretion is advised.
Yeah, they need to know what they're walking into when
For
you know
instance,
because Go ahead.
One of the situations people wanted to get into this assassin's ring I was running, and it had an intro quest, and it was pretty free form till the very end. At the very end, I had to warn him. I was like, all right, before you do this, there is going to be something disturbing. If you can handle it, then hey, you can handle it. If you can't, I kind of gave him a warning about what it was. Then we'll stop and hear it. And it pretty much was. They had the mission was to go out to capture this halfling lady, bring it back to this vampire bar, hand it to the bartender. He then clubbed the back of the head and drained the blood into the deal. Then he served you a nice drink, and you were in the guild. A lot of people couldn't handle that.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, but that's exactly
That's
what we
pretty
mean by
dark.
dark. But
Yeah.
in that case, there was a reason for it, and that's really one of those like with the dark RP with when you have to accommodate stuff like just doing the dark RP itself. You've got to have a reason for it. Like the sake of just being dark and broody or cruel and mean and stuff like that it's not enough. You've got to have legitimate story reasons to go into that.
Right, and the quest in and of itself told my tune if they could handle it and they could make it or not in this guild. If they couldn't do it, they had no business being in my guild.
Well, yeah, because if that's your initiation, it's not going to go uphill. It's not going to go downhill from
No.
there. And you're like, well,
And
that's as bad as it got.
yeah.
Everything else is Disneyland and rainbows.
Yeah, no, his guild they weren't messing around. It was really, really dark RP. So I didn't mind it. My character did, but
Well, and that's totally,
yeah, and that's totally different. But I was always impressed with his ability to come up with these utterly disturbing
it's
scenarios.
Speaking of which, anyone with weak stomachs, a few of these stories might be a little disturbing, like hanging in a halfling upside down and slitting its throat and which for me is perfectly okay because they're awful creatures, and that's really the only use I could think of for any halfling
Oh, you're so
is a fountain drink.
Oh
You
my
just-
god.
Just stab a spigot like a keg into his neck, and then you could just pull up the little handle and put the stein underneath it. I actually that's a brilliant idea, Strophe.
What's this garnish? Oh, it's a little bit of capillaries from the lung.
Yeah,
Fruity drinks all around.
that's right. This one tastes a little bit nutty. He must
guys
have been
love-
vegan.
Oh my god.
It tastes like shit.
This one tastes like a 1982. Hey, there's Sib and Fred going crazy. But so yeah, that's just a heads up. A few of our stories might be a little weird. But your role
Silver
players,
Circle
so you can
was
take it.
quite dark, but it wasn't his role. His guild was like 10 times what we were. So
Yeah.
we would tell people because they were like, well, the reason you don't allow kids, because we wouldn't allow anybody under 18 unless they lied to us, which happened a lot. But people thought it was because of our OOC chat. And they would say, well, we just won't join your OOC channel. It's like, no, you don't
That's
understand.
the role play.
Our role play is not for the weak of stomach. And there's going to be a lot of stuff here that you
Yeah, whereas
that you need to
your
know.
guild was really more of like a rated R, whereas it sounds like
Yeah.
Stray, yours was like the NC-17
Unrated, yeah.
for violence and
Yes.
gore and
He
yeah.
was NC-17. Silver Circle was rated R, occasionally rated X. But his was not rateable. Some of the stuff that he did.
Fish
Silver
was from
Circle.
Redfield.
Silver Circle was like Pirates of the Caribbean, and Nase, the guild I used to run, was like watching, let's see, Michael Myers stalk a room full
Well,
of
I was thinking
exits.
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange, yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
It could be really twisted. And I loved that about him. But I originally, Silver Circle was a lot darker. But after enough drama, you eventually get to the point where you're like, okay, people cannot handle this, so we're going to knock it back a few notches.
Yeah, and there's that too. But so going back to the how dark is too dark, and thank you. Well, I'm not going to say that out loud because that was bullshit. You can go fuck yourself. Yeah, anybody seeing that one, I'm not going to say it out loud because it was a racist piece of shit that put something on there, and I can't take it off of the thing, but that person can go fuck themselves.
I can't see anything. Where are you?
It just popped up on somebody that just followed us. It's not a name I'm going to repeat. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
Good.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to dark stuff.
Yes. Well, yeah. So that's our first troll. Hey, wait a minute. That means, you know what that means? We've made
We're
it.
officially,
We've made it. We've got our first troll. Wow.
Hey, Sibs.
Hey, and there's Sib.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, how's it
everybody?
going, baby?
Welcome to the winner's circle.
Speaking of dark roleplay, she was actually off just killing vampires, which is actually her day job at night.
That's pretty dope.
She's not really good at it during the day. It's not exactly a lucrative position. Not a lot of them out during the day. she's catching up. So anyway, so how much of when you're doing the dark role play should you like? I mean, obviously, Kishmas. I know when you've done even when you do torture role play, and I know when we did that back in Silver Circle as well. We always warn people like, hey, if you can't handle this, don't do it.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to do an interrogation and thing like that, kind of how the military does, like, how they'll waterboard each other and they all have to spend the time in the gas chamber thing, with the smoke and stuff.
I think the gas chamber, the tear gas chamber isn't basic.
Yeah. And, and the higher up you go, but, of course we're role playing, so we'll do all of that stuff. But
if you're looking to become like military police, there's the taser test. That's
I've seen fun. Those are always. I love that one of what they're tasering the woman. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she accidentally grabs his crotch as she's being tased, and they both go down. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Got tased himself.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
not
good.
in a nice way. Yeah.
But. So yeah, the one thing, like the one I can't, it's for real world reasons, I just can't do anymore is the slavery role play. I know there's somebody in ESO that they do it every now and then, but I'll be honest, I've participated in stuff like that in the past, and like, with Kishmas, like that thing you did, we killed slaves, but they were all NPCs. They weren't a real thing. So
Plus
like
they were rebels,
right? And honestly, that was the big. They were enemy. They were enemy.
I'm definitely not gonna. Yeah. I'm totally not gonna be like, hey, go kill some slaves. What'd they do? Nothing. Just do it. I would never do that. That's not my thing.
Well, yeah, but even that, with our characters, you could kind of well, in that case you wouldn't because that's someone's property. But like, I can't participate in those because I. Seen too much of the stuff. There's still, like, I hate not to bring the whole thing down. I mean, I know we're talking dark roleplay, but there's more slaves today, about 28 million, than there were in the 400 years of colonial slavery combined.
Yep.
Like, as of right this second, there's more slaves than 400 years. And I've seen the pictures, and recently they're finding out in some places in the Middle East and other places of the world that they're killing them.
Slave market, open air.
Well, they're harvesting their organs. There's a video that just came out, and it's unverified, but their parents are dead on the table, and there's a 6-year-old girl crying, and they're about to do the same thing to her. So because of that, I know it's rough. And
like, I don't even want to tell my dark RP story now.
Right. Well, and it was, and I understand. I can separate. I'm not saying like I can't separate the two. It's just that it breaks my heart so much that exists.
If someone does do dark RP and they get warnings, if someone leaves, that's all right. If they're not comfortable with it, just walk away.
Yeah,
you got to do it. don't make yourself suffer, then complain about it later, because that just makes things worse for the creator. Because like, well, I warned you, but you didn't, walk away from it. There's nothing I can do for you.
Yeah, and if and like when I see those things come up, I just don't go to them. I don't say anything. I'm not like, guys, I just I'm not like virtue signaling like, hey, look how great I am. I just can't participate in that. I just don't. It's just one of those. Yeah, I see that. That's our troll right there. Actually, he's changed his name. It was a lot worse earlier. There's something about Hitler and black people.
Look at him. Can we get rid of him?
I can, but you guys will need to talk for a little bit while I do that.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead. Carry on.
Let's see. Let's go on to our third one. How about that?
Well, yeah, go ahead. I was going to comment on how dark is dark, but yeah.
I mean, if you want to comment, you can go ahead. I was just going to move on to the next one.
Well, I was just going to talk about how, like, I used to run a vampire guild, and we had slaves. It's part of the slavery. It's part of the vampire thing to have dolls and slaves, and it seemed perfectly reasonable to me. But I'm going to say this because this is from my experience several times, not just this guild, but other guilds as well, where I've tried to do this, and there's never a good way to do this. When you have slaves, when you have people playing slaves, the level of drama and unbelievable mixing, you know how you normally deal with it in roleplay, it's always there. You're always going to have that. But with slave and vampire RP and the combination therein was like mixing on meth. It was just... And it got me to the point where I can't even see slave RP without running in the other direction. It like makes me twitch. I see it and I just know it's going to be drama.
You guys understand some of the lore behind some of these, game vampires. Like if you're running a vampire den, you've got to have a steady supply of, people who are either willing or unwilling, and those unwilling subjects to be food are basically slaves.
Yes.
So that's just the way it is in general vampire lore.
And like in Silver Circle,
girl doesn't have to do that, but it's just a general thing to consider.
Right. And like in Silver Circle, we were monsters, and some of our monsters ate people, and so we had NPCs in our dungeons that we used for food, and they were essentially slaves temporarily until they were consumed, but they were all NPCs.
Right.
And you wouldn't believe how many times I had people come to me and say, can I play one of those people down there?
Right. Jade Exile commented that he emulates an Ottoman Empire / Chinese style roleplay with slave soldiers. What would be the limit on the slaver RP? That's honestly up to you, because it really boils down to how comfortable your guild is with the slave RP. Now, it's just, it comes down to comfortability is the biggest thing in dark RP. How comfortable are you with running this, and how comfortable are you with
I agree with that,
running events that are related to that subject. Some guilds might not like that, some guilds might. It's a pick and choose type thing.
I have to agree with that.
I've never really done a lot of dark RP. I think Silver Circle was probably the closest thing I've ever done, and I even stayed away from a lot of the darker issues. So I am not a real good expert on this.
I honestly have watched a lot, and there is slave RP within my own guild. And if it's between two people and they are both consenting adults, I don't say, hey, there's no slave RP in this guild. I just don't partake. And I ask them to keep it at a dull roar so that I don't have to deal with drama. And if there is drama, and we have it, we still have it resulting from that. But they're nice enough because they're told, you either stop or get out.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that, because it's, it's their dime, how they want to spend it.
Exactly. I don't ban it, but I don't take part in it. And as a guild leader, I don't let it become the focus of the guild.
Yeah. And that's,
and there are some lore reasons behind different races and different games that actually have slavery. There
is slavery in the game.
Yeah, there's always there's one race in a game is going to have it. Like in ESO, it's the Dark Elves. Now, mind you, the Dark Elves are in the Ebonheart Pact, so they have to deal with that. Argonians cannot be slaves anymore, which, it's fine. It's a game. It's the lore. Albeit, controversial lore to some people, but it's the lore. That they still have like the Khajiit slaves, Bosmer slaves, even some high elf slaves. I've never seen that many of those, but you'll see some dark elves around Morrowind, RPing that, and I've never really seen a problem with that at all. And I don't think people who understand the general lore, they've never really had a problem with it. But things like the slave auctions that I've been to, those are pretty fun. The people playing the slaves are cool people, because we definitely had people in the temple, rent us. It was like a renting thing. You get to RP with that slave for a night. They'll do what your character asks. It's pretty fun. Usually it's around being the personal chef for the evening, which it's pretty light. It's pretty light. It's not like, I want you to like be my jester and do all these things. Blah, blah. That can get really dark, and sometimes that can get very uncomfortable.
You're always asking for a dirt best going to those things, man. Just my two copper.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't go and I don't participate for the most part for that reason.
Right.
But I have been in EQ2, because my character had a slave that was an NPC. Would go to slave auctions more or less just to watch and eat popcorn. Because she enjoyed the chaos that would ensue. Because Miriam was a horrible person. So she was a horrible person. And so it made sense for her. So it didn't bother me, but I did not take part in it directly for that reason. And I don't have a problem with somebody playing a slave within lore. I just tell people who are like, I think I want to do this. And I will say, just warning, with caveat, it will supply drama. Just letting you know ahead of time. Just know it. And they later come to me and say, man, you were not kidding. Told you.
Are we not surprised?
Yeah. And, it's, being warned, and that's all I do. I don't say they can't do it. I don't, it's just do whatever you want, dude, but I will have no part in it.
Uh-huh. So
I had somebody offer to be my dark elf slave, who's a Talani.
Ooh.
No. She would never do that.
Damn Telvanni.
Yeah, and she would never do that, because she just doesn't. She's been out in the world. She's a soldier. She doesn't even follow the 3, although she quietly pretends to, but it's not her thing. So to her, she was just like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Right. But she'll play the part and play along with it, but it'll never happen.
Again, it comes down to comfortability with your own play style, RP style.
It really does. It comes down to what you want to do, what you're comfortable doing, and understanding that there are going to be people that want to do this kind of RP that are physically and mentally unable to separate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the unfortunate truth.
Yeah. Right. And the thing is that that's also true in like the BDSM lifestyle. So, regardless, it's just part of it. People who have issues are drawn to that sort of thing. Yeah. Just forewarned is forearmed.
Perverted Moment brought to you by Jesse B.
Well,
sorry.
And what some people like, they, like I'm not good with the slavery thing. However, interrogation, torture, gore, and violence doesn't bother me at all. Nope. I don't have. It doesn't faze me, or it doesn't bother me. I had that one event I did when people weren't even actually being hurt. It was one of my characters went dark, and he was like the watcher thing, where he was taking people and having them run through a maze, and if they didn't make it, it was like a Saw style, minus the part where they had to cut parts of themselves off. But people were, their characters were freaking out over the communication amulets that they had at the time in the Vagabond Knights, and one of them was just like, I need you guys to. They couldn't handle it, because it was it just got to them. The people crying for help when there was nothing they could do to come help them or something like that. And so it's like, it's okay. That's cool. It happened, that's cool. But don't worry about it. That was their limit. Other stuff didn't bother them, but something about that, they were a teacher, and something about the cries for help stuff was just more than they could handle.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
especially when you're doing it over a guild channel like that, you really, at that point, you really have to, respect their wishes, because it's the entirety of the guild, and if somebody like that, they really can't handle it, and it's not just in say or something that they can walk away from, because you can't walk away from your guild channel, right? I mean, I guess you can block it for a while, but you really should never have to,
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to put anything on ignore or anything like that in your own guild. I will say I got that person taken care of. I learned something today, and that was how to ban our very first troll.
Yay!
And for that racist piece of shit, I hope one day you get everything that you were saying you wanted Hitler to do to blacks and gays. Feasted upon yourself in droves with red hot pokers, and perhaps not a pineapple, but an entire pineapple bush. And have that shoved up your ass, you piece of shit.
Say exactly how you feel. We love you.
Well, I will say I am actually proud because I have said it to Sib, and I think I've said it to you guys. We're not a real podcast until you've got your first troll.
Yep, that is very true.
So far, everybody here has been awesome, and I'm disappointed in all of you. I am, however.
I hope that troll's ice cream falls off the cone.
Yeah. When you pick the name Hitler were burned the gays, just gonna assume you're probably not here for roleplay. I mean,
probably not.
That would be definitely dark roleplay. I don't think I'm going to participate in on account of the lack of facial tattoos.
Overly dark.
Okay, I'm gonna add on to Kishmas's. His ice cream will fall off the cone into a pile of red ants.
Oh man,
that are eating dookie.
Ow!
Yeah. There you go.
I dare
Enjoy
you to pick it up.
Dookie-filled red ants. But, all right. So, thanks to that, I've actually had to learn how to ban somebody.
Well, you slayed your first troll.
Yeah. Which
you slayed your first troll. Good job.
We do welcome every dissenting opinion. We're never going to ban anybody for having an opposite opinion or disagreeing with us. However, when all you do is spill out hatred and stupidity, yeah, I'm sorry, you 11-year-old piece of shit, but your parents don't beat you nearly hard enough between what I assume is them coming in and out of their meth-filled binges. And that's why they're ignoring you, and you have all this time to go on a computer. All right, I think I've said my piece. So
there you go. I think we totally know how you feel. We got it.
So where'd you guys leave off at? I was busy. I can only hear parts of it.
We're basically talking about I think we're stemming off from How Dark is Too Dark. I think it was mainly a lot about Slaver RP and all that.
Yeah, okay. That's
good
what I thought.
Jazz.
Jazz. Yeah.
Well, the next thing would really be, how are some people attracted to so much dark RP? What's the driving factor towards it? Is it like some sort of hidden dark personality they can't show in real life?
Everybody wants to be the bad guy, pretty much.
Batman.
Yeah.
It's fun to be a bad guy.
With that. Well, and a lot of people are attracted to the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
people love one of the
boy.
most famous characters in all of, comic books and everything is the Joker, and he's fucking nuts,
Yeah, totally.
I would dare say one of the most popular characters of that whole series.
Yeah, I mean, dude skinned his own face off and then sewed it back on as a joke, I mean, there's definitely an attractiveness to that darker side of humanity, and one which, we could see online all the time.
I'm behind the computer. No one will know it's me.
Yeah.
I think it's just that safety blanket of haha, no one knows who I am. And also,
Yeah.
anonymous posts on Twitter, hey, this is the guy's address, phone number, and this is where he works.
Oh.
Oh no! They caught me!
I have no idea what you were talking about. That was a tangent even I can't follow.
Dark RP.
I thought I knew you were going, and then it was all panty dropping, and I just I don't know where you're going.
Precisely.
But yeah, that's it's just, I think it's just it's those are the cool characters. Every time we see, a movie or a TV show, it's always the dark character that's kind of the one that everyone's like, yeah, that's the badass. The John Wicks or Neo,
the Angel.
Angel.
I like the anti-hero
Spike
type of character.
Spike, yeah.
the anti-hero. It's really, and that's the thing, because just because you're doing Dark RP doesn't mean you're necessarily the villain, because let's be honest, a lot of people that play villains don't do it so well because they can't take the backlash,
Yeah.
No. Most people
Lex Luthor.
play a villain, they still want people to like them.
Yeah, like Stray,
Yeah.
you were really good when you played Rengots. You didn't care that people hated Rengots.
I mean, that's kind of the point. If you're going to be a villain, you better be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be able to you really, really have to be able to separate that, so that when because Rengots he was definitely a dark, dark and edgy role player.
Yeah.
He was not an edge lord in the negative sense. You spent the time in order to get that persona down. Like, you didn't just, you had already come in with him. He was going to
Well, it was a decade of roleplay. So, yeah.
Well, even within like the first, but even
he
right
came
away
in, but
he was dark right off the bat, right? And then, but you kept at it. You didn't get discouraged after, if I'm sure a few negative comments here, like, oh, Rengots is a dick, or, the comments that people make in character
That actually
when
made me
know
smile.
they're meaning it out of character too,
Yeah, I knew I was doing it right, and people were calling me names. Like,
That's definitely
like, okay,
happened to me before
cool,
as well.
I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
I was just being a dick. I wasn't even being a villain.
Yeah.
You suck. They're like, it's really rude.
They know, like, the characters are technically out of earshot, but Spatial isn't.
Yeah.
And
But
they're like,
it doesn't upset me. It annoys me because it's just like, well, obviously he's a dick. He's a dark elf.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is funny because usually for you it doesn't come from other dark elves.
The great part was, I also played Gormal, who was extremely jolly and kind of ridiculous. And people, once they realized I was the same character, like, there's no freaking way you play Rengots. I'm like, dude, I totally play Rengots.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't handle it. It was great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're playing, when it comes to that stuff, you're playing that character because you're not this, part spider webby guy that's like always plotting to kill everybody around you. You're actually stupidly and nice. It's really annoying, in fact.
It's a curse.
It's a curse. And damn good looking, too, I will say. You look great.
Thank you.
You
My
look really
goodness.
nice tonight. I just wanted to say that.
I'm glad. I did my hair just so. I'm glad you noticed.
Yeah, I grew my beard out for you. I've been actually growing a beard. I was hoping you'd like
I noticed the scruff, sir. It looks legit.
it. Yeah. I was trying something new. The woman agrees, so I actually had someone at work today say, "I'm digging your beard," and it's like, "Yeah, thank you. That's nice." Somebody actually noticed that I'm not just being lazy and not shaving, as usually was what happened when it got to looking like this.
That's what happened to
Yeah,
me.
I did notice,
I'm
but
pretty
I
sure.
thought you just forgot to shave. So.
No, not for 3 weeks straight.
I forgot to shave, and I was like, wait, I like this look. I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah,
Keep it.
mostly
It's
it was just
mine.
because I got tired of shaving. It is a pain in the ass. After 30-something years, I was like, you know what? Let's try this without it. Now, again, not going full on Duck Dynasty over here, but still.
I would.
No.
Hey, what's wrong with Duck Dynasty?
Nothing's wrong with Duck Dynasty except for those horrible beards and the tests of how much fecal matter gets caught in them.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
TMI.
Hey, you
Definitely.
asked.
You definitely need to be consistent if you're going to play the villain, and you can't care what people think. You just
Yeah.
gotta play that
If you're gonna, who is the other guy? Shit.
Griffith.
Griffith.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he always played a really good bad guy.
Yeah, he was. That you guys know
Yes.
him. The guy, is he's in the guild in ESO,
He
or
is
is he
in our
kind of
guild
in and
here,
out?
yes.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't play very much, but he is in our guild. And
Yeah, but
he
he-
still
Yeah,
comes in every now and then.
but he played a really good. He was a dark character
Yes.
and a bad guy. Like he had the slaves and stuff, and like one of them dropped, I don't know, a chicken nugget, so he like put her hand in lava as punishment.
Yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
out of character though. Super cool dude. I'm not sure I would want to like sit next to him in a dark theater for like 2.5 hours, but super cool dude.
He played a dark character very well, and
You
he
love to
didn't
hate
give
him.
He didn't give a crap, what everybody thought about him. I didn't know him personally, but I know his character was a total ooh.
That's the technical term. You're an ew.
But I
You're
think he did a
yucky.
very good job at it.
That was hilarious. priceless.
Stand by when the Joker takes over Ashen.
Oh man, you're
I'm
an.
tired.
That was. You're an ew. Oh my god, baby.
Oh, leave me alone. I'm not gonna say.
Oh, I
for
know.
the
I
rest
told.
of the
I
night.
already went over the part where it was a long ass day for us. So you're good. Yeah. Not to mention, I couldn't. I went to bed at 11 o'clock last night. Went to sleep about 12:30. So that was fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I was stuck thinking about stuff to do for this. I don't know what it is. It's just, ugh. But so let's see. As for, why the why people do it vein, like the hidden sadistic and masochistic personality, for some, maybe. I think so. Honestly, I just think a lot of it is they want to be the, like the reason, you just want to be that cool, you want to be the cool character. I mean, part of doing dark role play, at least in that vein, is like, you just want to be the cool guy. You want to, people like being the Neo or the Spike and Angel from Buffy, or trying to think of a more modern reference than from 15 years ago.
You want to be Darth Vader. You don't want to be Luke.
Yeah, the Darth Vader or the...
Well, you can either be Darth Vader or Anakin.
Right. Where you don't like sand. And nothing's...
Slaughter them like animals.
Darth issues need not apply.
Right. But, God, I'm really drawing a blank on, like, some of the great... Okay, well, we'll do like the villain from Black Panther. For those that haven't seen Black Panther, go see it. But there's two different villains in that, both of which you have seen in the previews. So I'm not spoiling here. One of them is Andy Serkis that played Gollum. He's one of the two token white guys in Black Panther, and the other one's the really cool looking guy that's going up against Black Panther. And both of them have really good motivations and really good reasons to be as dark as they are.
I thought Andy Serkis's character was just Andy Serkis, and they just found him and started filming.
Dude, I was amazed how, like, he's pretty kind of. I always thought of him as this scrawny little white guy from when he was doing Gollum. I don't know if that's because the way Gollum looked.
As scrawny. When I've seen him in like the appendices, he was like a relatively tough guy.
Really?
Tough
See,
guy.
every time I saw him in like the ball suit, wow, that sounds awful.
That did sound awful.
You know what I mean? Yeah, the mocap suit with all the little white balls all over it. So, now soon to be on the internet, the ball suit. You don't want to know what that one looks like. He always looked kind of like a scrawny guy, but maybe I just never saw him. He was always acting at the time. But yeah, he's fucking pretty buffed up. Well, at least I don't know if he buffed up for that role, but I wouldn't have wanted to mess with him.
Okay, I had a bad guy, Michael Keaton playing the Vulture.
Oh yeah, he was.
He was one of those really good, scary bad guys because he had the commitment that character did, and I don't know. Michael Keaton did an awesome job.
No,
at it.
I will say that. Short until Black Panther, I was, and even I'd say they're actually equal. Michael Keaton as the Vulture in Spider-Man: Homecoming was really good because he was a family man. He was pushed into that by circumstances, not circumcisions.
Yeah, you can do it.
Judy, you're
not
having a hard time
circumcisions
today.
outside his control.
Hard time,
Jeez. Believe it or
Oh my God.
Believe it or not, this is water and coffee in my cup. I have not had anything to drink yet tonight. It's just been a long day. Not coffee at all. I mean, it's coffee.
Daily ASMR.
That's right. But no, his circumstances outside his control pushed him into that life of crime and villainy, as it were. And, to protect his family, that scene in the car with him and Peter Parker when he realizes Peter's Spider-Man is fucking terrifying. Here's Spider-Man, one of the strongest, people in the Marvel Universe, really. And this guy's got this, you realize he's just a teenage kid, and this grown man has got a gun in the front seat, and he's, you do anything with my family, you go anywhere near my daughter, I'll freaking end you. It's a terrifying scene. And
Right.
so you got to have that, if you're going to do those kind of, like if your character's going to be dark and, and sinister or do that kind of stuff, you got to really come up with a good reason for all that. Your backstory is paramount in that case. Otherwise, you just kind of come off as somebody that's like, I just wanted to be dark and edgy, and that's just what I was doing.
A lot of it has to not just do with like, being menacing, having a tough voice. I think a lot of those scenes in Homecoming was a lot of body language and eyes.
Yeah.
That really
Yeah.
brought out his acting, which really impressed me
Yeah.
personally.
You brought up a good point. If you have a solid backstory for the reason your tune is the way it is, it's gold.
Yeah, you could
Don't
really
come off like a derp.
if you come off with their backstory is that you wanted to create a dark character, but you haven't figured out why yet. I think we've all said this before. Being an asshole does not equal being dark or a bad guy.
Far too many people believe that's true.
Yeah, that if you just
You
treat
can
other
be an
people like shit,
yeah.
you're not a bad guy. You're just an asshole.
I mean, you can be an incredibly nice person and
Mhm.
be evil. I mean, Mary certainly was. She could
Yeah.
be very charming when she wanted to be, but she was a very evil person.
Yeah, my
And-
character Kenix is, what he's
Yeah.
modeled after. He's polite. He knows the social graces, but it's the Raymond Reddington from Blacklist kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he knows all that stuff, and then he'll be like that one scene I'll never forget from that show where I drew a lot of inspiration from for Kenix was the a guy had taken a bullet, and he's like, oh, I don't know if you're gonna bleed out before or after I leave. Oh, the suspense is just killing me. And then he puts a bullet in the guy's head. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like
Wow.
it's like, he's just so casual about it, and it's like that's fucking awesome, and that's super dark. But you can do that with and then he goes on to drink tea, which is super creepy.
Yeah. It's also a Kingsman.
Oh yeah,
Secret Service.
Yes.
The part where Samuel L. Jackson playing his Lisp character, he's talking about how
so funny.
this is the part where I do a monologue and somehow you find a way to escape. Well, guess what? This is not one of those movies, and pops him in the face.
Pops him in the face, right? Yeah. As ridiculous as the list was, it was still better than Bane.
If you ever read any of Ren's backstory, I mean, Ren literally was eating a shit sandwich from the day he was born.
Mhm.
So then you kind of get the idea when you meet him like in game, you're like, oh, this is the reason you're such a troll. Because I mean, he just grew up in a shit-tastic life, and it only got worse.
Yeah.
So, but no, it works out. There's a reason these characters are the way they are, and if you establish that, then you have that to build off of and go forward. You can always grow them and change them later, but it's
and nothing's ever, and that's the thing, nothing's ever set in stone. When I had posted this in our guild thing for the episode tonight, one of the players, Dralina, sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing names out loud, had actually said that is Dralina as a chick, Kishmas?
He's a dude.
As a dude, okay. I can't tell with the names sometimes in what they play,
Nah.
and I can't go off the characters in the game because I think he plays a chick, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
So that's where I get that from. I just whatever the character is, I just call it he or she from based off the character, which I know is totally wrong way to
Yeah.
go, but I can't keep that crap straight. But
If
anyway,
you
but
want
in
to complain, bite us.
that's right.
People don't want, they want people to think they're female or male, so I would just go
Some.
by the name.
Yeah,
I go by the
I
name.
don't care.
I usually just go by whatever the gender of their character is, how I refer to
Yeah.
them, unless they correct me. It's really
Yeah.
just that
If
simple.
you don't
Totally go
get
with Jazz's
corrected,
method.
then you're going to continue
Mhm.
to do it.
Yeah.
But it cracks me up every time I post. Like I always post this and you let them know that there's an episode tonight, and then the title. A few times she's gone into an entire thing of what she thinks of it, even though I don't know if she listens to the show or he listens to the show or not. But I liked one of his points, which was he actually said, so the most important aspect of RP is actually talking to people, and the broody characters are not so good at that, which is very true. They said, in my opinion, the best way to have a broody dark character is to join a particular RP as more moderate character for that ground and then go down, which is actually a good way to do it. You start off sort of in the baseline, maybe a little grumpy, and then have the things once you establish your friends and your role play, then you can, which is what we were talking about with Sibh'Bae, then you work your way towards the darker and darker. You can go down that rabbit hole once you have people around you that you've gained their trust to help you solidify that viewpoint. Because as we've said in all roleplay, if you don't have the acceptance and participation of those people around you, you don't have a character and you don't have a story.
I already had the bonus of being in a sister guild of Jazz's back in the day, and I was already playing this villain. So he was already kind of in the door, and people, eventually that guild fell apart and joined Jazz. They already kind of knew how my tune was, and I just kept that going. I never stopped. Yeah. And people finally got it once they read the backstory, but you just got to be consistent, even if you're going to start completely like evil. Don't try to be evil. Just play your tune.
Right. Yeah. And like one of our good friends, Tilder, did the same thing in this sense that he played the same character in EQ1 as he did in EQ2. And if you hated his character, I think he honestly enjoyed it, OOC and IC. So he never took it personally. Yeah, he really is.
I'm with him on that. I mean, I loved people when they hated Ren. I loved it. I knew I was doing my job, and that's why I loved it.
Yeah, and you have to have that attitude almost. And you just like you guys were saying, you just if you're going to do that, sometimes like, the opportunities, you can't make the opportunities for your character to show how dark they are happen. People around you have to be doing role play, and those opportunities just happen to come up, and then you see how your character would react to that. So it's, I mean, really, when you want to show off how dark your character is, without everybody around you, you're just kind of an asshole standing, like someone said, holding up a wall.
You need to participate. You need to get involved and play your tune.
If you, and you're saying, well, I say that he's evil, so you have to say that. No, your RP has to show it, or nobody's going to believe you.
But.
Who's the budding?
Can't tell me how to play my character, okay?
It's my $15. You don't get to say what I get to do. Well, I can tell you what's not working, Sunshine, and that's you just sitting against the wall, glaring at people, and someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, how's it going?" You're like,
and then you hiss like a snake. I mean.
Hey, well, I think I had a guy that was really, really sure that he needed to be evil and was doing it very, very wrong. It was pretty much everyone was laughing at him, and I don't think that he was getting that everybody thought he was funny. So he was like, nobody. And one day he was like, nobody's taking me seriously, and I don't understand. And I said, it's because you're doing the edgelord thing, and it's really, really hilarious. And he didn't know what I meant, in fairness. So I explained it. He got really mad until other people were like, yeah, actually, she's right. And he was like, so what do I do? And I'm like, well, here's an idea. If you want to be an evil guy, don't be nice to puppies and give flowers to pretty girls.
And don't just be an asshole for no reason either.
Right. You need to make sense. If you truly are a guy who eats babies, because he was saying that he hunted and killed people's children.
That's not really much of a hunt.
He snuggled with puppies and gave girls flowers and read poetry to them.
I'm just saying, as hunting goes, Sibh'Bae, you're a hunter. Baby's not really much of a hunting target.
No,
I mean, they really pretty much.
And I pointed that out to him, that hunting babies just makes, because like he had come to my character and he was like, I was really hoping that you would help me establish my character, and instead your character just laughed at me. Because he came to Miri and was like, well, I hunt babies. And she was like, you might want to pick a more scary target, princess.
Yeah, it's like...
And he didn't understand why
Let's
she
check on the
thought
free-range children.
If you play your tune right, you play consistently.
Slowly open the window to the armed baby in the crib.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, unless the baby's...
I hope it doesn't see me.
Unless your baby's Hercules, and it strangled 2 asps when it was in its cradle, it's really not much of a fight,
True.
Hercules.
If you play your tune correctly, you play it consistently, those small moments where you go out of character and you do drop a rose or something, it's going to be huge.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what you're going to do. You don't want to be doing this crap early, because you're just going to hang yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to be evil. Understand that if you're nice 1 minute and sweet 1 minute and then evil the next, or say that you're evil, but you don't actually ever do anything evil, nobody's going to believe you.
And also, and on top of that, if you just say that you're evil, but you're only saying it out of character, not any point to that. Don't don't be one of those people that explains why everything your character does is evil, out of character, while it's not showing any way whatsoever in character. All that does, it's just aggravating. At least to me.
Yeah.
I don't like OOC explainers. I mean, I don't mind it every now and then, but I've met people that like for every in-character sentence they write, there's a paragraph explaining what it means.
Yes, and why their character is supposed to be feared, and why their character is so dangerous, and why their character...
they end the statement with an XD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like Indigo Juice in the chat says making orphans is more evil than hunting babies. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Batman.
That's right. That's funny. You all saw it. That orphanage attacked me first. LFG Comics. It's a great comic series. If you've never seen LFG Comics, it's really good. Completely sidebarred there. But yeah, you have to prove these things in character, just talking endlessly about how evil it is. Or, and don't get me wrong, I love it when people write stories in journals on forums and things like that. That's always great, and it's a great way to build out your character. But if nothing in those stories translates into what people see day to day in roleplay, all it is just that, it's stories. I mean, they have to be concise. Like when I write the stuff for Tarvala, it's kind of silly, it's kind of over-explained, but it's also, I mean, if you've met Tarvala, out of her armor, she's silly and kind of runs at the mouth, and she says things that she sounds horrible, and then she feels like she's got to explain it, and thus digs herself into a much deeper hole of, she says one thing that might sound a little dirty, and then when she tries to explain it, it sounds even dirtier.
Yes,
and then
it's also important.
Raj loves to capitalize on
that. And
it
usually ends with, you know what I meant.
It's also important to note that evil is subjective. So you may see them as evil, but they may not.
Most evil do. I mean,
most evil people would never see themselves as evil.
Not to bring up our asshole troll from earlier, but Hitler didn't think he was doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
He thought he was doing what he thought in his own twisted sense of the world, that what he was doing was the right thing for the world. Obviously, he's wrong, but that's just how that goes. Most evil
a different
people,
mindset.
Yeah, evil people don't see themselves as evil. Now, that's not all of them. I mean, there's the Charles Mansons of the world that
who wanted to be evil,
knew how bad they were,
and did it on purpose to be even worse. Yes.
Yeah. So,
but some people truly don't. Mussolini didn't think he was evil.
No, Stalin, Lenin,
all these people. Lenin. Stop it.
Lenin. Yeah. He only starved out some umpteen millions of his people.
Okay,
he was fine.
True.
Yeah, Lenin's a troll.
You don't have to put a bullet to Mao. You don't have to put a bullet to every person's head to starve them to death and purposely to be a bad
run them
guy.
over in a square.
Yeah, that too.
Stalin and the Ukrainians. What a famine.
Ukraine is strong. Sorry.
But I think the only figure that I've learned in history that knew what it was wrong was probably Genghis Khan.
Yes,
he
knew. Yes.
He's like, I come here to conquer and have women have sex with me. Oh, by the way, 2% of the population of Earth related to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that single reason.
Yeah, he was a special. No, Genghis Khan was just misunderstood.
Uh-huh.
Nobody understands me.
The Chinese
only... a phase, Chief.
The Chinese only built hundreds and hundreds of miles of wall to keep him out.
Yeah.
Nah, he was fine. He's all right.
Like, no. You can only build so much of a wall. I'm going to walk around it.
Which actually cannot be seen from space, contrary to the popular belief.
So dark RP.
Right. There's a reason we keep you around, Sibh'Bae.
Yeah, keeps us on point.
But yes, it's just I don't think I've ever met anybody when they play the dark role player, especially if they've done it right. They're typically, ironically, the ones that usually do it well and do it right are people like Sibh'Bae or the other guy that we had said earlier,
Tilder.
Griffith.
And thank you.
Tilder.
And Tilder.
Griffith.
Yeah, those guys, you guys, and you, what's funny is you're usually...
Ha 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 ha.
Okay.
You said what's funny, so I thought I'd laugh.
She's definitely your wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even I didn't. I was like,
I'm tired too.
What are you laughing? I'm looking at the two different chats here, and it's like, what is she laughing at? But no, like the ones that do like some of the darkest role play and some of the best ones at it are usually the most stable people I know too. At least out of character. In character, they're fucking batshit crazy. But out of character, like Sibh'Bae, dude, you know, I've known you for years now. You're pretty stable. I mean, you know,
Thanks, dude.
I'm not. I let you watch the kids. You know, it'd be fine. I wouldn't worry about them.
I wouldn't.
I mean, we'd probably come back and Gormal would have half of one of them cooked, but still, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
That's the other
I
personality.
made dinner.
He also peed on people.
Hey, you know. You
Yeah,
keep it
but
real
so does R.
cool.
Kelly. We
Sterile.
don't judge. It's okay. That's your thing.
Trying to sterilize people. Come
I
on.
think I made that joke already, but poor R. Kelly, he's the only one I know that pees on people for fun. So
Maybe they got stung by a jellyfish. Isn't that how you're supposed to be? Not seen.
it's that old joke where two couples out at the beach and the girl gets stung by a jellyfish and it's like, quick, pee on it. And the guy whips it out and pees on the jellyfish. Like, that's for stinging my wife. Like, no.
That was so bad.
Dad jokes right here on RPMMORadio.
We're here to serve.
That's right. And okay, so the other thing too, of course, you know, as I said, those you guys can be like seriously stable ones. Then there's of course the fact that we're online, and that can bring out the weird people.
There's
Can.
no such thing.
I think you really need to
I like
say
how
does.
I like how all like almost all of you all like what? So you know, is it just that people like they see these things and they're trying to recreate it, but they're just trying to recreate something that they don't have the deeper concept of when they try to do some of
I
this
think
dark role
it's-
play?
Yes.
I think Sibh'Bae said something about it. It gives people an outlet to do things they don't normally do or be.
It's true.
So,
And-
But
it's
a lot of times
parody
they don't
of it.
have an imagination of themselves to create some bad guy, so they go off what they see and they think is cool and evil,
Hmm.
and that's what they run with.
Right, they just go with straight to the, you know, stabbing a baby with a fork kind of a thing.
Even though it might run them into a wall, they'll...
But still have cuddle times with puppies, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's,
But-
you know, and there's a lot of, you know, of course we see anybody on the internet that's been there for, you know, 4 seconds, you know, that was one of those, it's one of the things I loved when we talked to the Smiling Sorcerer, you know, who is the cerebral palsy guy for those that don't care about people with cerebral palsy and have already forgotten all about him because you're jerks. When he, that thing when he said when he first got online and, you know, and of course nobody his whole life had treated him like, you know, because they could see his cerebral palsy and his disability, and then he gets online and no one sees that, and all they see is a guy that types kind of slow, and they treated him like shit. You know, that's literally that right there is the online community in a nutshell.
Which I don't understand because everybody that I know types slow. So I don't know why anybody could say anything because most people are abysmal at it and they really have no place to yell at anyone.
Wow. Anybody else, the elitism dripping off of that last statement is just...
I'm sorry, but
you could
people
put a
type
cup
really,
underneath
really
that and
slow.
just filter it.
They
and
have
sell
no
it.
right to be mad at people for typing slow.
That is
and
true.
I've had people say, you type really slow. And I'm like, says the pot to the
The
kettle.
kettle,
What's
yeah.
that supposed to mean?
Right.
You mean I've been waiting for 2 minutes for you to type and you go nods?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you're really not on, you know, batting 1,000 yourself, sweetheart. So
Bane of RP nod after like an hour of waiting.
Slash
Yeah.
nod.
The 4 horsemen of the RP apocalypse. Nods, smiles, smirks,
Crosses arms.
and crosses arms.
I do,
leaning.
Leaning. Yeah.
Leaning. Nah, maybe
Leaning.
leaning. So we need a fifth
I had
horseman for the
something- I
crosses
had
arms.
I had another one. I totally forgot
Nods,
about
smiles, smirks. laugh.
Chuckles.
This is an oldie but a goodie. Stands there, looks at you directly, and chews the air.
I know who does that one. He was so proud of that too, Jay. He
was.
Loves that. He loves the whole chewing the air thing.
Yep.
He was really good at it, and it was always something that we really enjoyed him doing because it meant that he was there.
Yeah, I always teased him with Xanis when he would do that, because Xanis would start. He would do it back at him. Do that whole, you can't obviously visualize that, but it's basically look like you're chewing something without anything in your mouth.
Yeah.
While the lips are closed. That's just what he did.
Yep.
Excuse me. But yeah, it's when you're on, it's just, you have to have, you just got to go through the process. You can't, it's everything in role play, especially when you're first starting your character. Once you've got it
We're past that one.
No, I understand, but listen to where I'm going. Quit interrupting, woman. But once you get past that, you just got to be consistently pound that in there. And if you don't do that, then you end up, if you try to jump ahead and just go straight to it, that's where a lot of the weirdos kind of just like, it's either they don't understand it, or they don't have the creative process, or just the willingness to go along with that and just do the legwork, And if you don't do that, that's when you come in to edgelord territory.
Yeah.
See where I was going with that, Sib?
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're
And I think a lot of people jump on the vampire werewolf bandwagon just because of what you said. They just want to instantly be that deal. And it's easy. It's the quickest way to, get to where they want to be.
Because part of and with that, part of this, like, if your character's just, if you're like, an assassin, don't see a lot of just thieves out on their own, do you? I don't. That one, it comes
Not
up every now
really,
and then,
no.
but it's typically the three. It's werewolf, vampire, or assassin. And so when it plays an assassin,
every now and then you get somebody who wants to be the uber fighter who's unstoppable and,
Yeah, and that's part of that.
Awesome.
You have to want to do that to be. That's one of the edgelord. Excuse me, tick-offs there.
And if you're their healer, you just let them die so they know who's boss.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that only works in groups, sweetie.
Oh,
that's group edgelords that are like, hey, I'm DPS, I can tank this.
Yeah.
Ranger down. Mr. Faye, back me up. Ranger down. Old EQ1 days.
Oh man, yeah.
I can't relate.
Okay. So there was the thing with Rangers and EQ1. They were squishy, and often, for some reason, they were the first ones to hit the first mark. So it would be
always the one to die first.
It'd be the tank saying, pulling mob, Ranger down. It's just that fast. Yeah.
Because they also hit the hardest, and so they were automatically
top of the aggro list.
Top of the aggro list, but at the same, but they were the squishiest, so it wasn't a good combination.
Yeah, it was like wizards, and then somewhere 5 notches below that with blank spaces, Ranger.
Way back in the day, EQ1 did their little EQ convention, Sony fanfare, whatever it was. Somebody dressed up like as a ranger, did a costume contest, and literally fainted on the stage, and everybody erupted in laughter because they knew it. The ranger died first.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, that's fantastic. Awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, so if you don't put the work in, that's when you, like we were saying, you come off as the edgelord, which, again, I'm not crazy about the term, but I can't think of any other like go-to word for that. It's basically just part of the lexicon of verbiage now, if that even is college words that go together. I don't know. I never went to college. I just drive by them.
It does not make you smarter.
You, sir, were a smart man. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, no, I saved a lot of money, not just by switching my insurance to Geico, but by not going to college. So when you get to the edgelord level, that's the cringy stuff. That's when the what's their name? Razor's Edge had reminded me the other day of someone we knew in Final Fantasy XIV, who was the epitome of edgelordiness, as in the guy would create stories that didn't really happen so far as I knew with anybody else. But then he would come and brood and like be totally bummed out and sigh a lot and try to be all dark and broody. And then he ended up sacrificing his character. He actually, I'll give him props for that. He actually ended up deleting it for that to go along with the broodiness. Of course, to sacrifice and save everybody from a dragon I think was in a dungeon. It wasn't that hard of wasn't that hard of a thing. But he had sacrificed that character, but then the next one that was related to him came in and was like, I'm looking for my brother or something, you know. It's the whole, I'm looking for the six-fingered man. He killed my father, prepare to die. It was like, it was never-ending cycle of just edginess that all the problems created were created by him, not through the natural course of role play with other people, but just like off screen. And then he would come back, you know, he would be talking to you. He would go off screen and you hear, oh, you stabbed me. And then he would come back bleeding. It's like, well, should we chase after him? No, they got away. I tried my best and it was an epic fight. Here, let me explain it to you for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, should we get you medical attention? Oh no, I have magic healing powers and it's gone. I'm like Wolverine, you know. Edgelord. That's an edgelord right there.
Yes, that's the absolute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent Derp Lord level pro.
Yeah, so like, you know, and when someone thinks you're being dark and edgy and like that, it's the different. Like an edgelord is hot topic, whereas a dark role player like Sibh'Bae, you're the Hell's Angels of dark. You know. Like I
appreciate it so much.
Right, it's the difference between the kid that goes to Hot Topic thinking he's edgy and Hell's Angels who will totally stick you. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that vast of a gulf, at least in the creative sense of everything.
It's true. It's a Diet Coke of evil versus
You're the Diet Coke of evil. Just one calorie.
I was thinking
not
more
quite
of
enough.
Just one calorie.
I was thinking more dark like Yakuza or the Russian Mafia.
See, that's another good one. It depends on the role play, I guess.
True.
You know, and that's what we were saying about earlier, Stray, when you were saying, you know, that's why people go for the werewolves, vampires, or assassins. I think part of the reason they go in there and it ends up being derpy and edgelordy is because, like you said, it's easy, and those three things already have a lore and like a history built into them. Like everybody knows what a werewolf is. Everyone knows what a vampire is. Everyone knows what an assassin is. So
the lazy, low-hanging fruit.
Right.
Totally.
It's, you know, and it can be done very well, like Tilder did. Not to toot my own horn, but I think Kenix isn't bad as an assassin, but he doesn't. Assassin is his job. You don't talk about your job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you certainly don't think about it every second of the day. It's just what he does for a living. It's not the end-all, be-all of who he is. It's just a thing that happens every now and then when a writ comes through. And he's nice to I mean, he's nice to, you know, your character. He's a yellow elf, and he's, you know, he's an Altmer, Sibh'Bae, and he actually kind of likes your guy. You know, he's not a big fan of Altmer in general, but on an individual basis, he can get to know him, you know.
Gold elf. Yes, I digress.
Yeah. No, yellow. Yeah, like the piss color,
Gold.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. And you have to do that with your tune. You can't just always be, I kill people, look how spooky I am in the corner. Like, dude, get out of here. No one cares.
Like, you know, the one thing he doesn't like is because he can't get over it from his time as an ordinator. He hates vampires, and he's not a big fan of werewolves, though he can kind of do on those. The vampire thing, he's pretty hard pressed on.
The fact that Sibby was afraid to talk to me because she knew I played Ren just told me I did a really good job playing Ren. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People,
No.
If you can do that without, you know, and people, like, it just becomes a thing in the guild, and you never talk to those people. They already know you're scary. You've done it well. You've done it right.
Yeah. I mean, just like I'm intimidated, or my character, Ninth, is intimidated by Rush and the servants. She's not going to go out of her way to go have a conversation with him because she sees him as
scary.
Yeah. Even though,
come on.
Even though she's talked to him a little bit and she's got, more used to him. But at first she was like, yeah, I don't got anything to say to you.
You're scaring the children.
Right.
Yeah, in Indigo Juice, vampires are people too. You just can't kill them on sight. That'd be murder.
Correct.
He did not say that sarcastically in any way, shape, or form. He meant that quite literally, despite anything else they may or may not have said after that. See, that's the thing. I don't have. You call into the show if you guys have anything. We got about 15 minutes left. Jump into the call waiting room. We'd love to take your call because if I'll read it off there, but I might make things up too. Just saying, if you really want to get it out
I
there.
will say, if you really want to be that dark character, you really want to work, put the work in,
Can't be lazy.
Make people believe it. Do the stories, do the role play, come up with a good story, not something that's been seen and done 100 million times. Come up with something original or try.
Yeah. Well,
because even though a lot of the stories have been done, there's still stuff out there that, that people find, it's good to go off of.
Yeah. And like I was saying too before, one of those, like, a great, if you want to do stuff, original stuff that can be pretty dark too, that podcast of lore that actually tells of real world stuff, I use that a lot. And a lot of that stuff can be turned very, very dark because a lot of it is very, very dark.
Yeah. Our world's history is way darker than a lot of fake world stuff.
And a lot of it's just, like some of the events I ran, there was a story I want to run, but it was based down in New Orleans, and it was I think they think it was a Saudi Arabian, or it was a sheik of some kind. He moved. It was in I want to say it was late 1800s, early 1900s, down in New Orleans. He had a lot of money, a lot of riches. He came over here, and he bought a compound down there, and they had a lot of parties, a lot of women, a lot of stuff like that. And then one day, it was almost always loud and obnoxious around there. And one day, the seller or cart guy had walked by, and there was no sound, and he peeked in, and there was just blood and bodies everywhere. And when they went in there, everybody on the property had been murdered. They were all over the place inside. They eventually found the sheik. The only thing they found of him until they uncovered him was his hand sticking out of the ground.
Oh,
they
geez.
never
Disgusting.
Right, and they never solved what it was. They believe what it was is that perhaps that he was royalty that had escaped and come here to the States to get away from their family. Or stolen money. They didn't know what he had done, was it?
They thought it was he had stole his brother's wives and all his wealth.
And the wealth,
and came to the States to hide.
Yeah, they also thought he might have been one of the princes or something, like, because in the Saudi royal family, there's like over 100 something princes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a very large family. Let's see. We've also got here. Oh, looks like somebody actually called in, which we appreciate. So I'll bring over Jay the Exile, and we'll unmute him eventually. So with no further ado, I muted him, not unmuted him. Server on mute. There we go. Jay the Exile.
Hi, Jay.
How's it going, Jay?
How's it going, bro?
Not bad. How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Doing
Fantastic.
What you got?
Doing well.
No, so I just wanted to kind of bring up because you guys kind of hit home for me with a lot of details talking about, I guess a lot of people in this chat have issues with slavery roleplay.
I do.
Yep.
I do.
Fair
I think a few others it sounded like when I was dealing with
have
Control.
no problem with it.
I have no problem with it. I just won't take part in it because it's nothing but drama and
Yeah, I just
It's a huge amount of derp.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just can't do
What's
it.
amazing is, oh no, so like I'll not lie. My biggest challenge with leading because I don't know how much anybody here knows about my guild, but my guild is very heavily based on slavery roleplay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You're dress, aren't you? Dress guild, right? Or
Yes, a Great House Dress, the slavers of Morrowind. That's
Right.
like the whole
Precisely.
aspect of our guild.
yeah, I only just recently learned who your
I mean,
character
that's
actually
just
was.
just lore. A lot of Dres economy is slavery. Take that away, and what are
Exactly.
they?
Right, and I have like no problem with the lore
Farmers.
aspect. It's just I don't have to, participate in it. Like I don't.
No,
if
no,
someone's
no,
there with a
no.
slave, whatever. I don't care. It's just I just can't do the slave
Yeah.
auctions and stuff
I
like
think
that.
it's interesting to watch slave RP because of like, this these guys are pretty willing to be slaves in certain ways, and I personally would never play as a slave because number one, I wouldn't know how, but watching it happen, like I'd be like,
There are
that
so
was
many
kinda
things I
bad
could
for
say.
me to say. Yes, let me. Oh, guys, stop unfriending me, guys.
Kishmish is now alone.
Remember, guys, he's only 21.
He is
He's
only
only
21.
21.
He's young.
That's
Jazz,
true.
He's
listen.
young. He doesn't know
Jazz.
any better.
Jazz, listen, I'm 21.
Yeah.
The brain doesn't fully develop till 25. So everything I say
That
is pretty much
explains so much. Anyway, go
Oh.
ahead.
Go ahead, Jay.
You walked right into that one. That's on you. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. You guys sure? I can let you guys keep going for a minute or two if you want.
Don't encourage them.
Yeah, don't encourage us. It's bad.
So no, I was going to point out that a couple of the biggest issues I have with running a slavery guild is one, dealing with dudes who want to play, like female slaves on the internet because that's a thing,
Yeah.
and then the other, yeah, oh my god, dude,
yeah.
I didn't know this. Tell me more,
yes.
Jay.
You don't want to know more, baby.
You really don't want to know anymore.
I already know.
You know, if you're that interested, I'll tell you in DMs later. But
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far into it. But the other aspect is, how do I deal with the aspect that, because it's a pretty brutal style of role play if you go into like the true, I guess, lore friendly connotations of it.
Yep.
I don't like that.
Yeah, the
My character.
Yeah.
the punishments
Yeah.
and the beatings and things like that. That aspect of it, or
Yeah.
yeah,
And so you literally have to either have to kind of shy away from that kind of thing and be more lenient, which makes your character almost look weak. So it makes them look less like a badass,
yeah,
or I guess
Right.
edgelord, less like an edgelord, or you have to totally go through a new, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to go through a new goal.
yeah.
So that's kind of like what I'm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and
Yes.
the edgelord thing, like I said, that's really not so much. That's just taking things where they don't need to go just because they don't need to go there. That's like it's like the Howard Stern of role play. It doesn't. Did you really need to do it? No, but you can. So you
And you
did.
can also just say it happened. You don't actually have
Right.
to work it out. But yeah.
So I would
Oh,
say,
see, that's
going
one thing.
going dark and like the beating role. I mean, if you're gonna do slavery role play, I mean, it is part of history. Slaves were
Yes,
punished for the
it's part of the
silliest of
lore.
things, and it's part of the world history. It's part of the ESO history. It's the lore. I mean,
Oh, that's the other thing is like, so like for one aspect you have to either decide like, so there's like basically like I guess 4 kinds of slavery in the history of the world. So you have the American and South American chattel slavery, which was brutal by any
Right.
scope of the word, and then you have like the Chinese, and I don't know if anybody here is very familiar with it, but there was like a Chinese admiral who was technically a slave, and the biggest
Really?
exploratory. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
one of the biggest exploratory operations by the Chinese Navy back during, I guess, post-Roman Empire, pre-colonial era exploration.
Kishmas has something he needs to look up now. New part of history for him to check into.
Love this shit.
My pleasure. Yeah, I don't actually remember his name, but he was if this helps your Google search later, Kishmish, it was a Muslim slave in the Chinese Navy who got promoted to admiral by the emperor.
Yeah.
And so, shockingly enough, that's more what I try to emulate as a slave leader RP, even though it's not really Drez lore friendly, because Drez are definitely more, American chattel slavery
Yeah.
style of role play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
like-
the current Chinese, like, build me everything, build my iPhones, kind of, indentured servitude.
Farm my gold on WoW.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's definitely got to be a tough, to be a dress. Because if you're gonna do house dress, of course you knew going in slavery was gonna be something
Well,
you have
you
to
can't
deal
get
with.
away
So
from that. If you're going to play that, then you play that, and I get that. That's fine.
yeah, and exactly, and I don't have a problem with that. It's just directly involving, like for me, I just can't directly involve myself. It on a fundamental level, it's one of the few things in role play that actually does just bother me. And I don't expect anybody not to do it. It's just me,
Dude, I'll straight up tell you that there's been more than once where we've had punishments, and I've been so I've been so emotionally attached to the character that's supposed to be punished. I've just had to tell them out of character, can we just fade this shit to black?
Yeah, fade to black.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with
I think that's definitely a universal thing to do when you're not comfortable. Just
Yeah.
yeah, which, and I'm not we've Kishmas, we've when people have gotten lashes for not following orders, shit doesn't bother me at all, because the reason it's military and that's how they do their punishment. If it was that on a slave, I think I think I would have to either step away or fade to black. But it's not the act of it; it's all the stuff,
Idea.
the connotations behind it.
Yeah.
And,
And the
again,
history.
I'm not like virtue signaling, like, look how great and wonderful I am. I mean, I'm not. I'm a
No.
if anybody that's listened to this show, we've done 32 episodes. I'm a piece of shit on toast, upside down. It's just, that's my one of those few buttons. I just can't do it. I've tried a few times. It just can't. I don't hold it against other people, because it's make believe. It's not real. If you're, trust me, if you're beating a slave, I'd, kick you in your ass and beat your head in. But again, it's writing. You're not hurting anything but words and imaginary creatures that don't exist on a digital plane. So
that is one of the aspects of it, is that it's a video game, but at the same time, these characters touch us in such surprisingly deep ways that we have to reconcile it.
Yeah, well, it's the same way a movie or a book touches you, and you can move you to tears, or make you jump out of your seat and go, yeah, that's literally how it's literally the same thing in role play. There are moments where we were doing something the other day, and I think it was the Droof Bob, actually, if he's out there listening. They were doing combat in the rolls, and he was fighting Athala in the first bit. He was like, yeah, he was getting those rolls, and then 3 rolls later he'd lost. He was like, God damn it. Ah!
Yo, that dice spot in our Discord is very, very weird. I think it was a novel in Italiana kept rolling like the same number.
We got,
and then Novel lost by 1.
We got 3 12s in a row. We got 3 1s in a row. I mean, it likes rows. It thinks it's playing fucking tic-tac-toe, I think.
Yeah.
It's
also really fun, because I remember
Sorry, brother.
I remember when there was an event where the Ordinators were going to kill some, pesky little orcs. And I kept rolling shit. So, getting skewed with a spear, getting cut on the hand, and all of a sudden I started rolling 20s and 19s and 17s. So here was my character just skewing people with the spear that skewed him. So I'm just sitting here like, oh, well, this is a little odd and kind of unrealistic.
This is making everybody very uncomfortable right now. But
it happens, though. That's the thing about rolling.
I've given up on apologizing.
Let me ask you guys a question. As long as we're talking about dark role play,
go.
So there was a. Anybody here remember the Ashlander War? That was kind of the brainchild of Raymond.
Kishmas, you were the only one around in ESO at that time on this group, right?
I was like right after when I joined.
You came right after, so you're the.
I've definitely heard a lot, and I definitely, as Rashir have learned a lot during classes, speaking.
Yeah.
And I know the general gist of it. I'm definitely not versed in it, but I've definitely heard stories.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you the 411 then. Although I'm
please
now
do.
regretting that decision because it's such a fucking dark. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know
It's all right. Well,
No.
I know we've had
We swear all the time. It's okay.
Yeah, don't fucking swear on
Thank
my show,
fucking
man.
God.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, Gangsy
So-
Girl, she
so-
explained some of it when we had her on a couple episodes back.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I don't. Okay, so basically the story of it was so this is one of the things that affects my character, Arthur Sarthos, pretty deeply because so during the Ashlander War, he was tasked with leading a joint operation, and they went to the Vale of the Ghost Snake.
Oh,
And
I
his-
know this story.
Yeah,
I think I've even heard this one. Yeah, go ahead.
I remember his nickname.
the Butcher of the Vale.
Yes.
So my character's job, and his job was to take the village out of commission and do that by any means necessary. Remove this village from the basically the Ashlander supply chain. But Ramus's in-character wife basically they basically said like, go fuck yourself. We're not doing what you want. We're not doing anything that you need. We're not cooperating. And if you try to enter this village, we're going to fight you. And they ended up launching an arrow at the character that was the secret lover for Ramus's wife. So Ramus's wife, I think her name was Daenerys. Not Daenerys. That's
Daenerys.
Game of Thrones.
Stormborn.
Stormborn, that's right. Dracarys!
Mother of Dragons.
Who
Wow.
doesn't want that wife? I mean, come on.
No, you're not wrong. So
Mm.
All right,
So-
all you guys, get back in the channel with us.
I'm going to stop Googling Daenerys Stormborn. Anyway.
I'll be in my bunk.
So, I can't remember. I'm just going to call her D. D basically used magic that took control of the ghost snakes of the Vale that were protecting the village and used them to basically attack the village in some of the most, I'm not going to lie, it was some of the most brutal style roleplay I've ever seen. I mean, like the descriptions of what the snakes were doing to the
Mhm.
people that lived in the village was
Hentai shit?
was
Not that bad.
Oh, I got to
No.
double check. Guys, stop.
I mean, hentai with like, Summer of Sam shit mixed in.
Yeah.
Ah. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Mr. Teacher just showed up.
That's right.
Oh, so it was like, like my character himself, like, kind of like freaking, I remember some of the things I had my character do, like he like stepped off to the side and vomited, and he ordered like, the troops to go in and like, secure prisoners basically, like go in and get anybody you can out of this shit. We're going to use them for information. But it was some of the darker roleplay I've ever freaking seen, and I've never really been able to reconcile it, except for my character being penitent in the form of he goes by the Butcher of the Vale, and he doesn't do it as a proud mark, although most people who met him probably would think, he's proud of the fact that he was responsible for the deaths of all
Right.
these villagers.
It was just something
But,
he
like-
had to do.
Exactly. It was not even what he wanted.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of
And see,
scenario.
that's a good case of dark roleplay.
Yeah.
It is a good case of dark roleplay, but it's still one of those things that like affects my character.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
Yeah, yeah.
always good stuff.
Very
But that's
much
all
so.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Jay. We got one more guy to get
Yeah,
to, so we're gonna go
absolutely.
ahead and let you go. But
Absolutely. I'm gonna pop out of here.
All right.
Thanks,
Go ahead
Jay.
and pitch me that.
I'll talk to you soon, Jay.
Oh, that was ominous. Have a good one, Jay.
That was very, very dark, Kishmas.
Very, very dark and very
I
ominous.
was about to say something that would have sounded really bad. I'll put the filter on my mouth now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Put the muzzle on there too. So we got one more caller, and then I think we'll be wrapping everything up. So we've also got Indigo Jules, not Juice, as it looked like in
I know. I read that as juice. I'm like,
Well, to be fair, the blue in there looked like the L looked like an I, so I was reading Indigo Juice, but it's Jules. So Indigo, how's it going? You're on if you can hear us.
Hello?
Welcome to the show, bro.
Welcome.
Silence.
That mad scramble for the mic.
That's right.
I think it's Ashen. We're gonna blame Ashen.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Good
He's
job.
unmuted. Look at that. See, look at that. It's
Look at that.
See, I didn't screw up. See?
yeah. All right. Well, we'll see if they got. Well, I'll leave them in here, and if they interrupt us,
Oh, never mind.
yeah,
That was Jay talking.
yeah. Oh, yeah, Jay that's the fun part when you do this show live and then we take you off of here. There's a 10-15 second delay where you get to hear how horrible you probably think you sound on there. But trust me, it's worse for us.
It's not.
Everybody, it's so cracked
You're
me up that everybody thinks they sound so bad. And
I sound weird. When I hear
There you go.
myself, I sound bizarre. I'm like, that's not me. Because I can hear my husband when he listens to it. And he'll be like,
no, that's what
he's
you
like,
sound
you
like.
sound fine. Oh, I sound
I-
horrible.
I feel like I sound weird too.
Yeah, I know it was
I think that's just instinct.
yeah, because
It's natural.
You only hear your voice through the reverberating bones in your brain too. You hear it audibly, but you also hear it echoing deeply through your bones, which is why nobody sounds like they do in their own head as they do
Yeah.
on tape, because you're
Yep.
hearing what everybody else hears minus the reverb that your giant empty rock-filled skull gives.
Lesson learned on home videos and talk boys from back in the day.
Yep. And also the insult came from my mom.
Ha.
That's how she told me she loved me. No, I actually did hear, what do you have, rocks for brains? More than a few times. But to be fair, probably deserved it at the time. So, Indigo, if you're there, go ahead. Just butt in whenever you can. I don't know if you're having technical issues or not. Or if you didn't even mean to put yourself in the chat and we're just putting you on the air willy-nilly.
Surprise!
So go ahead, but making it the making it believable thing, that really is, you've got to everything has to be believable. The motivations for it, they have to not just be that way. Like we said, you've got to know where the character was before where he is right now. They've got to. It's all right. Yeah, he says they say they're trying. I don't know if you're a he or she, so you're an Indigo, Jules.
I was gonna add something on I know Jay touched on the military, and we had touched on being like vampire, werewolf, and I can't remember the other one, but that is another good idea. Think of a military way to use that.
PTSD.
Yeah,
stuff.
like to have that dark side.
Oz definitely has that kind of.
Yeah, and Lilel, and I think I've noticed the character we know, Sio. He was gone for a while, but his character was off in the wars. Yeah, and he's come back, and he's a little bit less jolly.
Sociable.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's kind of but PTSD kind of stuff would do that.
Yep.
Yeah,
So it's
totally.
perfectly understandable. That is another good one. The PTSD.
Yep.
'Cause
It's funny because it's as dark as it can get in some point. You can develop your character to have like little ticks over time, like you gradually get better, but there's that one little thing
Mhm.
that can really cause it to act out. I mean, that's the way I've developed Regier over time. Like someone mentions, I'll put you in chains. Raj would be like, oh, you want to fucking die today? And,
Yeah.
It's sometimes
I could see
important
Raj
to have
saying
those.
it, too.
It's sometimes important to have those flaws because it actually generates more storytelling, more RP later.
Yeah,
So
you
nice.
have to have sometimes those buttons, and you can always have those buttons that if somebody pushes it unknowingly, that they flip out. The only time you have to be careful is when somebody figures that out and then they start doing it all the time. Then you got to be that basically, it's kind of like when you get, insulted by somebody that's like, yeah, that insult coming from you doesn't mean a whole lot, Yeah, what was, you got to kind of look where the insult's
Well,
coming
people
from
who
before
are
you bother
who are doing it just to get attention, and
yeah,
you have to manage
or they're
that.
just
Tell me I'm pretty.
troll earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to get your character in trouble, like, like if with Kishmas, if so, I know one thing that would set his character off is, yeah, I'm going to kill your daughter. Your face, the next thing you would know is you would be looking inside a stone wall, probably like through the back of your head. Yeah. That's
But no, that
definitely
was
a button
just
for
one
him.
thing I wanted to throw out is you don't actually have to have like a dark character based off of like werewolf.
No,
Well,
they could
no.
be other
Come
things.
from anything, yeah.
I mean, it's also important, like we've talked about before, that people who are evil or people who are bad still have people who love them and still have people they love.
Yeah.
That they're still people and they still have dimensions and nobody's just all evil all the time.
Right.
Unless you're Ashen, then you're
Well,
evil all the
true.
time.
True.
Oh, you say the sweetest things. Anyway.
Love it. Love every bit of it.
Sibh'Bae likes my Joker. Because it's
Yeah,
Hamill
buddy.
Joker, and that's the only Joker that matters.
That's
Am I
right.
Right? That's right.
Absolutely.
What about? Never mind.
What about Jared Leto? What was that?
What about Jared Leto? I mean, he's such a cool guy. He makes a great Joker.
But I was really gonna say there are some hardcore fans that don't like Heath Ledger's Joker, but I personally liked him.
Well, and there's those hardcore fans that are wrong.
Exactly.
He didn't stay true to
Oh,
the
are you
Joker's
kidding me? He was
backstory.
He never told the Joker's backstory. That was the thing. He always
Exactly. They still make the argument though.
I know. That was the great thing, when they did that. Did you ever know how I got these scars? I love that. I'll be honest. The first time I saw it, I'm like, I can't believe they're actually going into they're telling the story of where it came from. That kind of ruins it. And then partway into the movie, he tells the story again, and he tells the different story 3 times. Every time it's totally different, and that's brilliant. And probably none of them are true. There's no telling. He probably just as likely did it to himself than anything else, but you don't know why or how or for what reason. And that's, that's the kind of, that's one thing I really.
They did that in the animated series with Harley Quinn. He, seduced her to go evil. And then one time she had Batman. Batman said, "Which one did he tell you? Did he tell you one about this?" And she literally was looking at him like, "How do you know that story?" And he's like, "Oh, that was a good one. Also fake."
Yeah, but he's just he just lies. He lies like he's telling the truth,
How do you know I'm lying? Your lips are moving.
Right. And that's, there's just giving you a little bit more time to go before we wrap it up. We won't have much longer since we're already running a little over now. One thing in role play, especially for dark role players, that I always have found is really, really easy. And for some reason, so many role players will fall for it. I've had a character that he would flat out lie to people. Like with the stuff that he would tell them wasn't true. I mean, I knew the true stories and I knew the true backstory, but what he told them was false. And everyone just, when it comes to role play, most people just, when they're told something about someone else's character, they'll take it at face value.
Right. I think, that's actually something that I noticed early on, in that people would be absolutely, particularly with Miri, but I ran into it early on with my other characters. People were shocked and silly angry with me because Mikey lied.
How dare you lie to their character?
Vodka never lied. Vodka never lied. She bent the truth. She would tell you what you wanted to hear, but it would never be completely false.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a complete lie. It was always omission and twisting things. But Miri just flat out would lie. And you would not believe how angry people get. Oh, Seely.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I know she's lying.
Me.
Yeah, that's not her name, because she would insist her name was Brian. And they were like, that's not your name. That's a boy's name. No, it's not. It's just a name.
Yeah.
It's not your name. I know that's not your name. How do you know that? Because it's a boy's name and you're not a boy. Maybe my parents were weird. How do you know that?
Because it's floating what they're saying was because it's floating above your head.
Or she would introduce herself by some other weird name and they're like, I know you're lying. No, you don't.
Yeah, that is one funny aspect.
Miri would lie without even blinking. She was a sociopath. She didn't, and so people were like, well, she's not convincing. She's a sociopath. She is convincing. Yeah. So, but it always amused me that people would lecture me about now OOC lying. If you OOC lie to me about something,
that's totally different.
I'm gonna go over the rainbow. It pisses me off. It's one of my buttons.
Yeah.
But if you lie to me OOC, I could give a damn. Rengots.
And
oh my God, he lied so much to Vodka.
And that's
great.
totally cool.
Yeah, like
but it is just not something that happens a lot.
They caused someone who was very precious to Vodka to be injured. And him and Wolf colluded together to do it. And she could never prove it. Never. She knew they did it. But I mean, I OOC knew. But Vodka could never prove it. And she always knew it was true because she could put 2 and 2 together and was like, they had to have done
because she wasn't an idiot.
Right. She was like, this wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't a coincidence. Right. But there was no way for her to prove it. She tried. The Lycan that was her husband that she was married to, Wolf, never told her the truth. He knew she'd probably nut him if he did. So he was never going to tell her the truth. And she was like, I won't be mad, I promise. And he sends me a tell.
Dick punch.
Liar. She will gut him.
How did he know you were lying? Because your mouth was moving.
Yep, because Vodka was just like, he was like, yeah, this is like her favorite person. And I put silver dust and blew it up in her face. She was a vampire. Yeah, she's not going to gut me. Yeah, we'll believe that. No.
Plausible deniability? I still don't know what you're talking about.
I've never heard of it, right? But, all right. Well, we've gone a little long on this one. Unfortunately, Indigo, whatever problems they were having, they can't work it out. I'll go ahead. I'll hit you up after the show, and we'll see if we can't get your mic and stuff working in Discord. It can be a little flunky.
Flunky?
Yeah, it's a word. Go for it.
Okay.
So that'll be our 33rd episode. I think it's a good one. It's just, when you do dark roleplay, you just have to put in, basically, to sum it up, you got to put in the time. You gotta put in the story. You got to put in the effort. And if you're sitting on the edge of a wall and you're trying to act broody and you never have a character that can interact with people, you're going to get what you sow. And it's going to be basically you sitting on a wall all by yourself, alone forever.
Yep.
And that's how you're going to die.
In the Forever Alone Club.
That's right. So, appreciate everybody, of course, joining in tonight.
Thank you.
Again, every Saturday, 7 Central.
Hi, guys.
At twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. You can contact us if you want us at rpmmmoradio@gmail.com, facebook.com/rpmmmoradio, at rpmmmoradio on Twitter. Appreciate everybody doing that. If can't think of anything else. So, of course, appreciate all of you guys tuning in. As I said, I appreciate my crew, Kishmis, Seb, Jazz, Sibh'Bae,
and our donors.
Yeah, man.
And our donors again, and of course Indigo Jules, who followed us while we were doing it. Even though you couldn't go on the show, it's okay. We forgive you. This stuff happens. That's the part of being on live. It's always so much fun when something goes wrong, and you're probably frustrated as hell, but we're all right. We'll figure it out. You can call in some other time. So, without further ado, tune in next time when we'll talk about the time I met a halfling Neo in Matrix Online eating second breakfast in slow-mo. Next time on RPMMO Radio. Good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions of RPMMO Radio and her crew are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great music covers of video game music and original sounds that you can download for free and purchase there as well. Husky rules.